Nobody's Business, a podcast for all those subjects we've been trained to avoid. Here's your respectfully irreverent host, Keith Shelton.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Keith Shelton here. I'm the ramrod of this outfit, playing off of that great Western movie, McClintock. Y'all have any exposure to that, Drago. But so proud to have all of you irreverent nobodies joining us tonight. Just want to, I love it. I love it. Where's my sidekick, my cohort in crime, my co-pilot? There he is, JT. Hey, son.
That's the look you get after you get done herding cats, but instead it's 3-year-olds in soccer.
Oh, y'all, what y'all don't understand is you're looking at what used to be my 3-year-old when we were trying to help him learn how to play soccer and football and baseball and the rest of it. So
I may have been 3, but I think I read at like a 5-year level.
Okay. Well, he's getting a taste of his own medicine, that's for sure. Well, folks, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I promised you we were going to have some really great, interesting guests on for the next several weeks, and you know, y'all remember William Day? He was a great guest. Well, we got another great one tonight. John Scott Ladner, somebody I've known since he was a kid, and oh my God, what a great human being he is. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Tonight, we have the honor of chatting with somebody who truly embodies service and leadership. He retired as a colonel from the regular Air Force and Mississippi Air National Guard, but his journey didn't stop there. From serving on critical missions during Operation Desert Storm to helping shape the next generation at Pearl River Community College. Our guest tonight has dedicated his life to making a difference in other people's lives. His wife, his kids, those around him, his extended family, friends, everybody he comes in contact with. Let me tell you, this is truly somebody you want to know and want to be blessed by being in his presence, being able to hear what he's got to say. He's a man who's worn many hats: military leader, community servant, passionate educator, and I didn't know it until recently, but he's an avid spear fisherman. So hopefully we're going to get to talk about that a little bit tonight. But more than anything, he's somebody who's deeply committed to his family, his community. Today, we're going to dive into his incredible history, his background, and listen to his incredible story filled with moments of bravery, compassion, and unwavering dedication. Get ready to be inspired by the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, John Scott Ladner. Welcome aboard, Scotty.
It's good to be here, Keith, and it's been great to reconnect with you.
So good to see you, buddy. You're looking great. You're certainly not little Scotty like I first knew you, that's for sure. Now you get nicknames Hoss, and boy, it's obvious to see why. Hey, welcome aboard. So glad to have you, man.
Well, it's good to be here, and you're very kind. And, you know, I got to tell you, I looked up to you when I was running around Forest Hill. You and I were blessed. We went to the best high school in the world. And great people, and you and I were influenced by a lot of same people. But when I was running down there, you're a little older than me. And I looked up to all you guys, you know, and I had a lot of great memories from that.
Well, Scotty, let me tell you something. Here's my earliest memories of you. It didn't matter whether it was track practice, track meet, football practice, football game, basketball practice, basketball, baseball. It didn't matter. When your dad had come to Forest Hill as a high school principal, and oh my gosh, I can't say enough good things about what a fine man your dad was. Well, here comes Scotty. And Scotty was everywhere. I mean, you were so full of energy. You were so, I mean, everybody, nobody feared your dad, but everybody respected your dad. But
Yeah.
everybody loved you. You were just like the greatest little brother anybody could have, and it was so good because you were interested in everything. You wanted to, whatever was going on, you wanted to be right up in the middle of it, wanted to learn it, wanted to see it, and whenever somebody would let you, you wanted to experience it. So, man, that's my first memories of Scotty Ladner.
Well, Keith, it was a great influence on my life, and set a lot of the standard for what I did later. And if you remember, they called him respectfully Bulldog. That was his nickname because he. So they called me Bull Pup. You probably remember me as Pup. They called me Pup.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Well, look, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about your high school years. Here's what I am going to say that I know. You had some unbelievable shoes to fill, based on how your dad projected himself to everybody at the school and the community. I mean, quiet leadership is kind of like is it the E.F. Hutton guy? He don't say much, but when he does, everybody listens. Well, that was your dad. Had great respect for your dad. So here you are, you're a kid, and those are the shoes that you had to fill coming up, just to be anywhere close to your dad. And tell us about your athletic endeavors and your situation like that. I did know, just from trying to keep up with stuff, that you were on the overall state championship basketball team. I think that might have been Coach Brock's fourth overall state championship team, maybe fourth, third.
Actually, he had retired. He was
Oh, really?
a principal of the middle school. That was
Shelby
Coach
Watt?
Shelby Watts, that later was inducted to the Hall of Fame, like J.M. Brock. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
But J.M. Brock, I grew up going to his summer camps, and they were a dear family friend of ours. Remember Debbie? I mean, that's a whole other episode, man.
Oh, yeah.
So I learned a lot from him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. I already told everybody, you were Air Force Academy graduate. What made you want to go to the Air Force Academy?
Well, let me back up a little bit and address the first thing. One thing about my father, you're right, big shoes to fill, but I never felt pressure to do that. I was blessed with a wonderful dad and mother, and I'm proud of my sister. I want to talk about her later. She's still a great coach and educator and mother and sister, but they never put that pressure on me. They just led by example, and I wanted to be like him. I want to be like him and my mother, and they just set that example on that, and I try to do the same later in my life. So I just wanted to say that. And a lot of the same people you and I were influenced at Forest Hill. I don't even start naming them because we'll leave somebody out, but there were so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
We were really blessed. And I just grew up going, I want to be like these people. And but when I was probably like you, Keith, I just came up. I love sports. My dad started out at Provine before he came to Forest Hill. That was my earliest memories. I'd run around the practice field, and he coached football and track and baseball. And he never pressured me. He played football and baseball at Mississippi State. I never felt pressured to be an athletic. I just wanted to. Um, and I worked hard at school. I knew it was important to do my studies, but I just enjoyed competing and being out there. And when I was coming up, that's just what I did. And um, in high school, uh, probably like a lot of young people, and I still work with a lot of young people. You're not sure what you want to do yet, but I had enough sense to know I needed to do the best I could at what I was doing so I'd have opportunities. My dad always told me, work hard to have opportunities and options. So when they come by, you're ready for them.
Yeah.
And, I ended up with straight A's and being co-valedictorian. but I had to work at it. It didn't come natural, and I just did it because I thought, man, I just want to do the best I can, and so I can. So even up to my senior year, I wasn't sure, but that's a lesson for everybody, and that's what I want to get with some of this podcast. Is, prepare yourself in whatever you're doing, and no matter if you're young or older, um, if you prepare yourself, then you'll have those options, and you'll be ready when the time comes. And so, going into that senior year, I was considering another time. I knew I wanted to go to college, but I loved athletics. Uh, yeah, we won the state championship my junior year, but it wasn't because of me. I was about the ninth or 10th man. We had some great five of five of them went on to play college basketball, and the sixth one, Frank Sutton. Um, I played football with him. He ended up playing at Jackson State and going to NFL for a while.
Oh goodness,
John,
Yeah,
I had big shoes to fill too. You
yeah.
looking at who my dad is. So
Hey,
if
your
there was
dad could play.
any
Your
achievements to
dad
be
was.
had, it wasn't me.
I get you, man. And your dad was a baller. I watched him play. He could
Still
play
is.
basketball.
Yeah,
Um,
still is.
but anyway, I was very proud to be part of that team. I embraced my role as I'm gonna work you hard in practice, and I'm gonna be ready when I do get in. Um, and so it was great to be part of that. But played football, basketball, and track. Participated in a lot of extracurricular activities because I just enjoyed doing it. And so I really want to continue playing football. That was my best chance of going on in college. I thought. I knew I wasn't a D1 player, and I had a scholarship to Hines Community College and Sewanee University of South up in Tennessee, Division III school recruited me, and I loved the coach, and I was looking at really going up there. But the Air Force Academy reached out and started getting letters and calls about football. And one thing about the academy is that there are athletic scholarships, and you know that because you went there. But everybody there is on a congressional appointment, so they over recruit. They said, look, when you make a develop into Division I player, why don't you go ahead and apply? And if you do get accepted and come here, we'd love to have you and watch it. Today you call it invited walk on. So when I was considering what I wanted to do, I started looking into it, and it was divine intervention, Keith. It was this God working in my life, and got really looking at it, and I said, this is a great school. The challenge appealed to me, both the school and to see if I could play at that level. but I wanted to be challenged.
Scotty, people have no idea how hard the academics are at a service academy. I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
Average 21 hours a semester. One semester had 28 hours, and they're not basket weaving courses. They're aeronautical engineering, astronautical engineering, physics. But so I went ahead and applied, and I got accepted. And when the time came to make my decision, and it was another classmate of mine too, Bruce Allen. We grew up from third grade on, played football together. And so two of us went that year. And you were the first one we know of at Forest Hill. And after that, Bruce and I went. So it was very unusual for two to go from one school. But Bruce went on and served, retired as a colonel, and he served and retired as a colonel for the helicopters. But anyway, I went and I tried out for the football team. Didn't make it. But I'm forever grateful. That's what got me there. It got me what got me looking at it. And so I had the option. I thought, well, as you know, up to 2 years, you don't owe anything. You can go up there 2 years and leave without a commitment.
Right.
But I was in there, and first of all, I guess it was pride competition. I'm not going to quit. And also I realized I had enough sense to go, this is a great opportunity. And something stirred in me, patriotism. I was working, great people. You were there. You're working with some fantastic people. And sometimes I wonder, what am I doing here? These people are, so much.
Hey, look, you can be the big man on campus in your high school, but when you get there, you are a little fish in a big ocean.
That's right. but I loved it, and so I had enough sense to go. I could go back and go to Sewanee, but and it ended up again divine intervention. Uh, I started boxing here in Merle's, and Coach Wishers, who I still talk to weekly, he's a great coach, coached in the Olympics. Yeah, he was a longtime coach of the academy. Coached 29 national championship teams. Coached over 560 All Americans. He pulled me aside and said,
Goodness.
"Hey, you need to come and start working out with us." So I got to be coached by one of the best uh, internationally known boxing coaches, and very grateful for that. So I ended up boxing while I was at the academy. Did very
JT,
well.
don't we have a photo of Scotty boxing? Is that you,
Yeah,
buddy?
that's against that was at VMI at a tournament against Notre Dame. He was from Notre Dame, Angelo Perino. He was a national champion the year prior. That was my first
Oh,
collegiate fight. That was my first collegiate fight.
oh my God! What happened? How'd
He
that turn
won.
out?
He won. But I learned a lot, and he ended up. Yeah, that's a good one. He ended up after the fight, talking with me, and he ended up winning it again next year. But I learned a lot. I think I only lost 5 or 6 matches in 4 years, but he was one of them, and so I'm grateful for that. But as you know, being there, you learn so much more. I did very well militarily. I ended up graduating in the top 10 military. They have an MPA. They later told me I guess I was number 5 in the class, but I was bottom half in the class academically. But I did well athletically, and it's more the teamwork you learn. You get there, and everybody there, you said it right. They were all valedictorians. They were all top athletes.
Salutatorians. Yeah, top
Yeah,
athletes, top,
yeah,
tops in their class, good grades. I mean, you weren't even going to be eligible to get an appointment if you didn't have good grades and
that's right.
wherever you were coming from. And oh my gosh, I remember, and people have heard me say this before. Whenever I take standardized tests, I mean, I was always 98th and 99th percentile rankings. Well, that means I did better than 98 or 99% of all the people that took the test took that test. So, people thought I was smart. But let me tell you, when you get to the Air Force Academy,
That's right.
first of all, you're going to have a roommate, then you're going to have 2 more suite mates. Then you're going to have, in your flight there. Well, hell, everybody I knew made better scores than I did. So,
Yep.
goodness,
It's humbling. It's humbling.
it's
And you
humbling.
learn a
Very
lot.
humbling. You
You
are
learn a
right.
lot of things. Yeah. And some people weren't able to handle that. There were people that came there that all of a sudden they were the big dog, and you remember when you get there, it didn't matter if you were a general son, didn't matter if you were rich, poor, you started all the same. And I love that. It's merit based. But they purposely set it up, as you know. You learn quickly, and you have to depend on each other.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how smart you are, how good you are, you will fail if you try to go it alone. And so that's good training. And so growing up in athletics and the way I was raised too, I took to that because I understood that.
Yeah.
But you quickly learn that. And I'm gonna tell you, Keith, I had a 4.0 in high school. When I got my master's in business from Louisiana Tech, I had a 3.99. I'm more proud of my 2.45 from the academy than I am those other things. And I still don't know how I graduated, but by the grace of God, I did. So, yeah.
Man, look, I know. Goodness. Well,
Yeah.
Scotty, okay, we got you to the academy. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to make tonight about me and my experience, but here's what I'm going to tell you. The one thing that I took away from that I probably have carried with me for the rest of my life since then was the honor code. And the Air Force Academy has the simplest, the most stringent of all the service academies, the toughest honor code, and it's so simple, but because it's so simple, it's easy to see how it's the most stringent. It says, "We will not lie, cheat, nor steal, nor tolerate among us any who do." And, buddy, they made us memorize it. Obviously, when you're trying to, win your appointment, and then when you do get your appointment, if you're successful and you get your appointment, I mean, you just you get bombarded by all the stuff you need to start learning about the account, where you're fixing to go. And one of the things they told us was when our feet hit the ground, before we ever set foot on the cadet area, that we were going to have to memorize the honor code. Well, it wasn't that hard to memorize, so I had that down, as you can tell. But to actually have an appreciation for it, to have an understanding of it, Donna says, from summa cum laude to thank the good Lord.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, thank you, Donna. But what I was going to say is I did not have an appreciation for what that honor code actually meant and why it was so important for the service academy and all of the military for it to come from the service academies downward into the ranks. Why it was so important until my first class, and we really did, and you did too, have classes on just the honor code.
That's right.
And my first class in basic training, that you're carrying a rifle, you're marching, you're crawling through the mud, you're getting shot at, and all the stuff that any military guy would, at the time it was just guys, would have to go through. Well, that's what we did, but they would stop you long enough to make sure you were getting your military training classes as well. And the very first one was about that honor code.
That's because it starts with that.
Yeah, well, and that's when it hit me why I needed to take an honor code and make it a part of who I was. And I never forgot it, and I've tried my best to carry it with me ever since then. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up and then let you tell your thoughts about it, because to me that was the thing that I knew made me a better person, was that honor code.
Keith, I couldn't agree with you more. And the Air Force core values are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do, which are great core values. But notice integrity first. And if you can't, you've got to be able to trust each other. You've got to be able to know that when someone tells you something is true, and not only what they tell you and the way they deal with in their character and their daily life, that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, that they're going to tell you when they're wrong, and they're going to tell you when good or bad, and you can trust each other. And that's the most important thing. Norman Schwarzkopf, who led us in Desert Storm, said leadership is a combination of character and strategy. They're both important, but if you must do without one, go with character. And he's right. And one thing I learned there, when you depend on each other, you remember we couldn't even lock our rooms; they were unlocked. You didn't worry about things being stolen. If someone told you something, you believed it. You told the truth. What they're teaching is ownership. Own it, good or bad. Tell the truth and accept the consequences. And there's a certain bond when you start doing that and trusting each other. And even in your school, that's tough. It was tough. You're not going to cheat. You're not going to. And there are people who, the toughest part of that code is that second part. Later, I got to be an honor chairman. I actually taught some of those courses. I came back after I graduated, and in the summer when I was waiting to go to navigator training, I taught those honor classes. And people say, "Well, I'm okay with the lot, not lying, stealing, cheating, but I'm not going to tell them a buddy." And we had to explain to them, you got to understand what's at stake here. It's bigger than me and you. It's our nation at stake, and we have to hold each other accountable. It has to start with that, and that means sometimes it may be somebody your best friend, but if they're doing wrong, if they're lying or cheating, you got to hold them accountable and call them. And if you don't, the whole system breaks down.
Especially for other people, if it's obvious and you know that other people are counting on the accuracy of the report, the truthfulness of what's being told,
Right.
the status of anything regarding property or qualifications or things like that, you can't let it go. It's too important. Lives depend on it. There are lives that depend on honest reporting of bad news.
That's right. And you got to have the moral courage to even hold other people accountable. Stuff like that is. And it's a good lesson for our nation and for our world. I wish we were doing a better job of that right now.
Isn't that the truth? Scotty, if you've watched any of our podcasts and before, I've told people many times I am a history nut. I mean, one of my best friends in elementary school, his dad flew P-61 Black Widows in the European theater in World War II. So, guess why I wanted to be a stick jockey? Okay, that motivated me. But that was just more of what fed me, to study history. And one of the things that is so well documented was Adolf Hitler, even though he, was barely a private in World War I, here he is trying to command, millions of soldiers and weaponry and aircraft. And later on in the war, he's sitting there, directing his generals at the strategy table, saying, I need Ninth Corps to take that bridge, and I need them there by the end of the day tomorrow. And I mean, get it done. And his generals would be too afraid to tell him, Fuhrer, Ninth Corps is so decimated, they can't put 200 soldiers together. And of the 200 that's still listed, they're all in the hospital. They're all injured and wounded, but they were too scared to tell him. And what is so comical in a very tragic way is the stories of him making all these strategies and planning these maneuvers. And, here they are on this big table, and half of it's fictional. Yep. And he was the only one that didn't know it.
Yep. And that's the failure of leadership. If people don't trust you enough to tell you the truth, and a good leader will surround himself not with yes men, but people they trust to tell them the truth, good or bad. And that's what they need. Another thing, Keith, faith is important to me. As a Christian, and I believe absolutely the truth of the Bible. And, it tells you never let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And you want to be the kind of man or woman that, and it's important that they know that if you tell them something, they can count on it. And I used to tell our airmen and later students, and still to this day, young people I work with, integrity is one of the few things that nobody can take from you. You can only give it away. And if you give it away, it is very hard. It is very hard to ever get it back. Because if you lie to somebody once, even if you mean it, how can they ever really trust you? In the back of their mind, well, you lied to me once, maybe you lied to me again. Mm-hmm. So it is imperative to be a man or woman of your word, and people know that.
Well, Scott, let me say this. Who of anybody is perfect? Everybody can make mistakes.
That's right.
Exactly. Everybody. So it's unrealistic to think you can't make a mistake.
That's right.
And you should have enough confidence in who you're dealing with that when you do make a mistake, they are going to accept the fact that you made a mistake, and they're going to jump in and try to help you. They're going to try
That's
to, take the bad part of what just happened, and what's the old phrase? Make the best of a bad situation. Well, that's what you have. There's a book, and I know we're getting off topic, but I'm going to hit it real quick. 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, and he talks about he talks about a credibility bank, and if you through your daily actions, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, you have been making, we call them credibility deposits into the credibility bank, and so the one time you need to make a withdrawal, guess what? Man, people are rallying to your side. They're there to jump in and help you. Why? Because they never expect you to be perfect anyway. Okay, but that's credibility. Now, and here's all I want to make the point of: there's a difference between mistaken and being deceitful.
Absolutely.
And that's what we have to make sure people understand. Making a mistake. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Right.
Well, I was just going to say, nobody expects you to be perfect anyway, because they know themselves they're not perfect, and so they can forgive that. They can go on past that being in error. I'm talking about, but it's the deceit, it's the theft,
right.
it's the cheating. That's what the honor code was intended to say. We have to have a standard. We have to have a standard.
That's right, and
it's a tough standard.
People forgive mistakes, but trust is something that's just sacred. And so you got to own those mistakes. And that's one of the things they teach you. You learn from them, you own them, you set responsibility, and there may be consequences with it, and then you press on and you learn. And it's essential for leadership, whether you're in the military or out of the military. If the people following you can trust you, they'll follow you. You can lead them. If they don't, that's a whole nother matter. But even if, and I found this from leaders I followed, and I hope the ones that I led, they'll give you a lot of grace. They may not always agree with you, but if they think you're doing what you think is best and honest for the unit and everybody involved, they will follow you. But if they can't trust you, then you got a problem.
Well, that's that credibility bank coming into play again. What do they see most of the thing? Because that's what demonstrates what kind of character you've got. Look at oh my gosh, boy, does that bring back memories. I think I recognize that fella there to the right. Who is that?
Yeah, that was I was the Cobra Squadron commander for Base Cadet Squadron, and that was when we were lined up ready to march out for Jacks Valley. You remember doing that?
Oh yeah, goodness.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Man, they say where no one can hear you scream.
That's a good way to put it. Boy, I remember the valley. Oh goodness. That was some good times.
But, one of my favorite quotes is, Patton had a lot of good quotes, but one is lesser known, but I love. He said, "Good soldiers come with dents in their helmet," and it talks to what you're talking about. What he's saying is, if you're out there trying, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have dents in your helmet, but do you learn from it and press on? That's true in athletics, right? It's true in everything.
Yeah.
Business. So if you play prevent defense, you never get on the field and they get your uniform dirty. Yeah, you didn't mess up, but you didn't contribute. So if you're out there trying, you're gonna make mistakes. But do you learn from them and do you press on and you learn and you become better for it? But you got to own them and got to be honest about it.
Well, Scotty, look, JT, pull up Scotty's graduation photo. That's good. All right, what was that, Scott?
That was at the end of basic cadet training. Remember how you marched out and was a big day. You remember it when
Oh yeah,
you no longer a basic cadet, but you get integrated into the wing.
yep.
And
Got
get
your
it set up.
boards. Got your boards. Put on your shirts.
That's right. And that
Out
was
on the parade field.
that's it. That was the acceptance parade coming down to bring me men around. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
that was it. Yeah.
All right, JT. Didn't we have a didn't don't we have a graduation? Him getting his diploma.
I don't have that one. I've got this one with you.
There it is.
There it is.
There,
Okay.
that's it.
That's it. Now, that was Vice President Bush at the time. The previous graduation, Ronald Reagan, the president, had come and been the speaker. That year, it was his Vice President Bush, and each one of us got to shake his hand, and after we got a diploma, and
Yeah, there was a lot of pride in wearing our uniform of the day, and when you were on the parade grounds, that's what we wore. So
right.
that was awesome. That was awesome. All right, well, Scotty, you graduated from the academy, and you're right. That was a monumental thing for you. And man, when I found out you had graduated from the Air Force Academy, I mean, my heart just, oh, little Scotty, little Scotty graduated the Air Force Academy. Man, that's great. And then, I didn't keep up with you, like, everything you did. I kind of lost, other than the fact that I think Coach Brock told me you'd graduated. Maybe maybe Debbie Brock had told me you had graduated, but somebody had told me that you'd graduated, and I just thought, man, that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's all I can say.
Well, I was blessed, and a lot of great people that I'm still close friends with, and that went on to do great things both in the military and out. Just to be honored to be around those kind of people, it uplifts you. It makes you better, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like athletics. The more it was a healthy competition. It was just being around people that made you want to strive more, and I'm very grateful for that. Very blessed. But
Well, all right. So you got your diploma, and lo and behold, you had a little bit of a celebrity there that handed you your diploma. So take it from what you did after that.
well, we'll encapsulate 30 years in about a minute. I went to navigation school. When I got to the academy, I was non-rated, and you know what that means. What it means was I wasn't pilot qualified or navigation qualified. There are a lot of other jobs in the Air Force, but I wasn't going to be able to fly, and that's fine. I was looking to do other things, and then my senior year, they said, well, we had 2200 vision. They said we could waiver that possibly. Do you want to go to navigation school? I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I went off to the Mather Air Force Base in Sacramento, California, learned how to navigate, old school navigation, celestial, and everything else. And coming out of there, I asked for a B-52, and they thought I was crazy. Nobody asked.
Nobody asked for B-52s.
There was actually several of us, and they called us in and said, we're thinking about sending you to psych eval. But the reason I did is I wanted to fly. If I was going to be a navigator, I wanted to be. Even then, I had enough sense to go. Technology is improving. It already had some positions that you pretty much kind of, just manage the box. Because if I'm going to be a navigator, I want to be a contributing member on the air crew, and I want to do something operational. And so,
Hey, Scotty, let me interrupt you real quick before we jump too far forward. What did you actually get your degree in at the academy?
organizational behavior. That's management, business, and psychology.
Okay.
I was not strong in the sciences and engineering. I got through it. It took calculus 1, 2, and 3, differential equations, physics. It just did not come natural to me. The fuzzy courses, I like that. That's a good picture there. We called them fuzzy courses. I was good at the fuzzy courses. I had good in economics and management, and English, and that was my strong suit. So I need to find some major that I could graduate. So that's the one I took. Uh, but anyway, getting to that school, bottom line is, of course, I got to be 52, and I'm proud of it. It's a great aircraft, a lot of history to it, and so I went on to.
You know how many times they've tried to replace the B-52, and it's like it was almost irreplaceable. The best they could do is give it better engines and better infrastructure in the aircraft and weapon systems. But boy, that thing is still flying, man. I'm telling you, I've seen it so many times. We used to live in Northeast Texas, and I cannot tell you how many times we would see B-52s, especially around Shreveport. And I mean, even as far north as Texarkana, we didn't live in Texarkana, but we lived really close to there. And there were so many times we saw flights of B-52s. There you go. There's the buff.
Let me tell you, the B-52 and C-130, I don't think there's two aircraft that have the U.S. military has got more bang for the buck out of.
I agree.
And, strategic air command and all that other. So I'm very grateful to be part of that history. I was in strategic air command. So I went to B-52 training and then went to Barksdale Air Force Base. I met my wonderful wife, Kathy. Now, Kathy and I went to kindergarten together, but she didn't like me kindergarten. Afterwards Baptist. But then she went to Jim Hill. I went to Forest Hill. We had common friends. She was teaching at Forest Hill. When I got through the B-52 training, I was coming through on the way to Barksdale. I was at school talking to my old football coach. And she came up the hall, and I recognized her. And she was pretty. So I asked her out, and that was in March. In December, we were married. So our first assignment was Barksdale Air Force Base. Our first child was born there. Our other two children were born at Dice Air Force Base in Abilene, Texas, when I was in B-1. So I called them the I-20 babies. They were born on I-20. But so went to Barksdale, loved it. It was the 596 Bomb Squadron. We were named the Golden Bomber Trophy, which is the top bomb squadron in the Strategic Air Command. Great people I still keep in touch with. We have a reunion every year. I'm going out to a reunion next week in Oklahoma City for B-52. But the first night of Desert Storm, 7 of us flew a mission called Operation Seeing Surprise. We called it Secret Squirrel, and it was secret for a year. But we took off out of Barksdale, and we were the first, by historians, first planes launched in Desert Storm. Flew all the way over, launched conventional air launched cruise missiles, came back to Barksdale. 35-hour mission, longest combat mission in history for over 12 years. Till B-2 broke it. And then it was the first time that the United States had ever struck a target or an enemy out from the United States. So that was, we're just a bunch of young guys. There's Jay Beard. That was our squadron commander, Lieutenant Colonel Beard at the time. We were just young guys, just like in playing football, basketball, just trying to do our mission, to do our part, and do it together. But we still maintain a closeness to this day. And it was over almost 90% effective. It was the first time those weapons have been used, and we're very proud to be part of it. So I landed, and we couldn't even tell our wives. They were told we were ferrying planes to Loring. They didn't know we had done that. We landed, and the next day got a call and said, "Hey, from my aircraft commander, we're going back over." And we went back over and flew 8 more missions out of Morone Air Base, Spain, striking targets in Iraq. So I could not have had a better first assignment with better people than them.
And every time y'all flew those missions for Desert Storm, y'all were taking off and landing back at Barksdale, right?
No, that Secret Squirrel mission we were. Everybody else had pre-deployed, and some of them flew out of England, some out of Bodega Garcia, some out of Morone Air Base, Spain.
That's right.
So when we landed, I was there a day, and we got a call, and we went back over and went to Malone Air Base, and we flew the rest of our missions out of there. It was about 14 to 16-hour missions from out of there, but we were striking targets in Iraq. But then, anyway, that was a great experience with some great people, and we still have a reunion every year and stay in touch. Then after that, I went back to Castle Air Force Base as an instructor in B-52s, teaching other crew members. They were closing Castle and bringing the schoolhouse back to Barksdale, which my wife and I are pleased with because we loved it. But then divine intervention happened again, and the B-1s were hurting for instructors, and they flew out to the base, and they said, "Look, we need to take at least 6 young instructors who have combat experience to come be instructors in B-1s." I'd already decided we were going. I had orders going back to Barksdale, but my squadron commander, Colonel Jerry Maxwell, one of the best commanders I served with, he grabbed me and said, "Come on, we're going to see the wing commander." And they said, "You need to go do this." And I said, "Well, look, I'm doing pretty well in bus." He said, "Yeah, but it's a great aircraft. You have to, you just need to." And I trusted them because they were good leaders. That's what we talked about before, integrity, right? I knew they were they were, and I said, "Okay." So we Air Combat Command selected 6 of us, and we changed my orders, and we went to Dice Air Force Base. I got checked out the B-1 bomber, and the day after my check ride, the next day I was teaching academics and instructing them in the sim, so I got enough flight time to become a flight instructor. A great aircraft, met some great people that I'm still close with. So we were there 4 years, loved it, and then from there, I was making a real Reader's Digest version. It was coming up time to. Yeah, I've been there 4 years, and my old boxing coach called again. The second time he called to come back and be assistant boxing coach and running their middle department academy. Oh, that's a good picture. That guy in the middle there, that guy right there. That's Michael Branch. He was a year behind me at the academy. He was my co-pilot in Desert Storm. I got to talk about him. Love that man. He used to come over our house. He helped us name our first daughter. Very close. He tragically got cancer before I left Barksdale and passed away quickly. And I'm still. His brother was in the Air Force. I'm still in contact with him. Miss him dearly. And that other guy was my navigator. But anyway, I was looking at going back to the Air Force Academy, and I would have loved doing that, coaching boxing, but Air Force personnel officers said, "No, we're short of navigators." We had just started training the Air National Guard. They got the B-1, so we were training their air crews. These guys were highly experienced, mostly out of fighters and other aircraft, and they needed some of us to come help them convert from fighters to bombers. So I did that, and ended up, they said, "Well, we want you to stay in our unit," and I ended up going in the Air National Guard, active duty in the Guard, they call it. It's the same thing. I was serving active duty, same pace, everything. So we went to Robbins Air Force Base. Loved it there. Great unit. Helped them convert from fighters to bombers. And then divine intervention again. We're very happy there, but I was at a conference and met Lieutenant Colonel Joe Spraggins, who was commander of Combat Race Training Center in Mississippi, and he said, "What's a Ladner doing?" And because being on the coast, there's a lot of Ladners down here, a lot of. And he said, "What's a Ladner doing in Georgia?" And I said, "Well, that's where." Anyway, bottom line is, he called my commander, who they'd flown in F Force together, offered me a job there at Mississippi Air Guard. I said no to that job 3 times, Keith, but God kept knocking on my heart, and we had 3 kids in. It was a chance to get them back home close to their grandparents, so we came. So then that was in 2000, and from that point on, I was in the Mississippi Air Guard. But about half that time, I later got into Air Force Special Operations Command, doing tactical ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, supporting Deltas, Navy SEALs, British SAS. And so half of my time in the Mississippi Air Guard, I was gone. I served at Hurlburt Air Force Base at the headquarters for Air Force Special Ops Command for 2 years. I was over at First Air Force in Tyndall, and so bottom line is, I was up at Key Field for 2 years. We started the MC-12 Project Liberty program. That was the Secretary of Defense's #2 priority at the time. And there was we all feel pretty good. We helped capture, or kill a lot of terrorists, but more importantly, we got to help bring a lot of our great soldiers and heroes back home safely. So very proud of that mission and very grateful. And that's an I mean, that was it's really is more to it, but it was 30 years of that. And bottom line is, I got to serve with some of the best people in the world. And you talk about that honor code. We knew we could depend on each other for our lives. We could depend on each other for anything, and to this day we can. And that's a special bond, especially being in combat, that I'm just incredibly grateful for. And and it's an honor to serve with such people. One thing about it, and it's a message for everybody in or out of the military. Team matters. You know that. You were an athlete. You were at the academy for, when you have a group of people that care more about the people around them than themselves, it's very special. And one thing you'll find about Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard that I found in 34 years wearing a uniform, those people would rather die than let the people to the left or right of them down. Whether you're on the air crew or on the ground, your primary concern is, let me do my mission well and protect my brother and sister. That's it. And even in an athletic team, it's not life or death. But when you get a team together, basketball, football, whatever, it says, I want to do my role so well, I don't want to let my brothers down.
Yeah.
That's a championship team. And I got the privilege to serve that. Now, I was also in the national championship boxing team for 4 years. But I got to serve, to me, on the greatest team in the world, the U.S. military, and be with those kind of people. I remember the first mission we flew at Desert Storm. I got in that plane, and I remember said a quick prayer, and I remember I wasn't afraid. I mean, we didn't know what we're up against, but I remember my short prayer was, Lord, help us do our job well as we've been trained, because there are people on the ground and people that are coming to strike package after us, because we're the first ones in. And then the stealth and everybody else. Help us do our job to the best of our ability. You had more of a fear of letting your teammates down than you did of death. And every person I met, soldier, in the Army, whatever, that's what motivates them. General Schwarzkopf said that in his book. It doesn't take a hero, and he was a great leader. They asked him, what motivates a person to step in front of a bullet for someone else? And he said, I'm paraphrasing, Friday night football, American flag, apple pie, that gets you to basic training. And they're all good things, patriotism. But when the bullets start flying, and what matters, all that goes really kind of out the window. You're still patriotic and care, but what matters to you is the man to your left and right. And that's what motivates you. You will give your life for them, and you'd rather die than let them down. And when you get the privilege of serving with people like that, that's a special thing. And it's sacred. And I am so grateful to be able to serve with those kind of people.
Oh, Scott, that's just awesome. That's just awesome. And your story is just, man, it make you eyes water. But here's what I'm going to say. I remember, because I told you I'm a history nut, and for some reason or other, I gravitated toward military history. And you didn't know this, but I guarantee you some of them teachers back at Forest Hill knew it. When I was in the 6th grade, I'm the one that taught all the Revolutionary War battles and the Civil War battles.
Wow.
Literally, I kid you not. I mean, you can ask some of my classmates. I was the one that would get up on, on my poster boards, and I'd show where the troops were and everything. So that's my man, that was my love was military history. And so when the flare up and the invasion of Kuwait occurred and stuff like that, man, I was glued to the TV. Well, whatever source of news I could have, that was me. You can ask Sonar. The kids were too young to remember, back in those days. They watched me, but they wasn't interested in it like I was. But Sonar can testify to it. And I remember when we found out that the B-52s had gone in first. I had no idea that little Scotty was a navigator on one of those B-52s, buddy. And it just, it just gives me chills to think that I witnessed it, but I had no idea. So,
wow. Had some great brothers with us, and we still get together every year. And war is a horrible thing. I think it was might have been Gerald Lee. I think it was that said
it was Robert E. Lee.
It's a good thing that war is so horrible, lest we love to grow to love it so much. What he meant by that, and I get it. None of us want to go to war. Student Air Command was peace through strength. You have enough deterrence that you be the biggest, baddest dude in the block, so nobody wants to mess with you.
Exactly.
Norman Swissoff in his book talked about the soldier above all else wants to avoid war, but if you must. It's just like when a bully picks on you. Don't slap him. You better hit him right in the jaw and get it over with quickly. It saves lives on both sides.
Yeah.
And what kills me is we had politicians even then that would criticize them. You were so brutal. Yeah, war is brutal. It's beyond brutal. He understood because of Vietnam, the harder and quicker you do it, the sooner it ends and it saves lives. So there's nothing glorious about war. But what is glorious is the character of men and women that come out of it, the bravery, the courage, the self-sacrifice. Those are things that ought to be celebrated, studied, and honored. Not war itself. War is horrible. But the sacrifice, if you watch those things like Band of Brothers, the Pacific, the Masters of the Air that came out recently.
Oh, yeah.
People going through incredibly horrible things with courage, and those things in the human spirit should be celebrated, not war itself.
Exactly.
But what comes out of that is ordinary men and women become extraordinary. Some of the Medal of Honor winners you read them, and they were just teeth like me and you. They're just,
they're the most humble. They're the
Yeah.
most humble people you could ever meet.
But when the time called for it, and their brothers and sisters around them, at the time really brothers before women became in combat, the bottom line is when the time called for it, they rose to the occasion. Despite their fear, I think John Wayne said, courage isn't being afraid. Courage is being afraid, but saddling up anyway.
Yeah.
If you're not afraid, I was afraid. We're all afraid. You go back on your training. If you're not afraid when the bullets are flying, you lie. When the surface to air missiles coming at you and AAA and your electron warfare, we got locked on. There's tracking and we're doing evasive maneuvers. At the time, the training kicks in. You don't have time, but then later, it's scary. Bottom line is, how do you handle that fear? How do you, and that's where training comes in.
Yeah.
So
your butt's so tight you couldn't drive a straight pin up it with a sledgehammer.
There's a few times I sucked up a seat cushion on an ejection seat. Yeah.
Well, Scotty, here, and you're right. We're just doing the Reader's Digest version because we definitely want you on. We want to hear more stories, but let's jump to something real quick because we're already on an hour. All right, when you retired, 30 years, man, 30 years. That's after the academy. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. But here, let's jump to this because when we have you on again, we can fill in some gaps. Okay. How did you get into the education part? How are you so into educating high school students? Or is it junior ROTC? Is it? I mean, are you just teaching classes? Start. What are you doing? What are you doing yourself?
Well, Keith, I think that's just part of my DNA. My father and my mother were two great educators. That was their calling, and I was so influenced by my teachers and coaches. Uh, Obviously, coming out of there, I wanted to go to Sewanee and play football and be a teacher and coach. God directed me otherwise, but I was an instructor a lot of times in the military. I've always liked teaching, um, and mainly because when people influence you that way, you want to try to do the same, for others. And so when I retired, my first stint, I served as on congressional staff for a year. Loved it. It was good. But then I went to be a JRTC instructor and
Where,
loved it. Loved
where'd you
working
do,
with students.
Where'd you do that?
St. Martin High School, and loved it. Did it for 3.5 years. Um, Still keep in touch with a lot of my students and a lot of faculty. Just absolutely loved it. Then got an opportunity to go to Pearl River Community College, and I want to brag on them. It's a great school. Dr. Aaron Brewwood is a fantastic president. He's an old baseball player, baseball coach, great leader. He's been a great military man, and I don't have enough time to tell you all the accolades. But we're the fastest growing community college in the state for 5 years running. Our enrollments were now the third or fourth largest, still growing. I could I could I could tell a lot of what we're doing, but and so it's a lot of great people with a passion to provide opportunities for students so they can change lives. And I can tell you that's Dr. Brewer's heart. He and I work for him. I'm the assistant of the president of special projects. We just brought up a new campus at Stennis Airport. Um, we started aircraft maintenance training in there, hydrography technician, a great drone program, doing a lot of other great things. His passion and the whole school is not only instructing but changing lives, giving people opportunities. That's all you can ask for. It's American way it works. Now, a lot of people want something for free now. All you can ask is for the opportunity. And so we provide those opportunities and the mentorship and the encouragement, but they got to buy into it too. And a lot of them do. So I love working for them. I love being on a good winning team that has those kind of passions. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that. I loved it there at St. Martin. I still keep in touch with them. I also do a lot, with a church for the young people, as well as um, an admin coach. I coached football for a few years at Gulfport High School.
I didn't know
And
that.
yep, this coach defensive line and linebackers is Coach Cuevas and some others. Loved it. And the last 10 years, I've been an administrative coach for the All Star games for Mississippi, the North South Bernard Blackwell game, and the Mississippi Alabama game. Now, as an admin coach, you do a lot of logistics, set up the, uh, uh, getting them bedded down, getting the equipment together. We do have student managers, but we spend months in advance coordinating everything. And it's been a blessing because I've got good friends all over the state now that are football coaches that I know. A lot of the kids I've watched them for 10 years go on to play, watching them play on Saturday and sometimes Sunday in the NFL. We spend a lot of time with them. I get to work one on one with a lot of those students, get to talk to them about life, try to give them some advice, try to help them work through being the big guy on campus. Now you're going to where you're now with everybody there is a 3 or 4 or 5 star recruit, they're not going to hold the bus for you anymore. They're going to leave you. You know, you better
Exactly.
get up with time. And so it's a privilege to work with those young men to try to, tell them you got a great opportunity that God has given you as a talent. Don't waste it. Get a good education, mind your money, and don't be discouraged when you get up there and all of a sudden everybody you don't have to work for it.
Yeah.
And so and I still help a lot of kids that want to go in the military. For years, I've worked with helping kids get into to the different service academies. I was actually on College Palazzo's Service Academy Selection Committee where we would interview all those kids and rack and stack them, for appointments, and then follow on with them when they go. I've got three of my former students, two of them at the Air Force Academy. One's a senior, one's a junior, and another one is a junior at the Naval Academy. Very proud of them. But I'm also equally as proud as those ones that enlisted and went and served in different capacities. I keep in touch with them. God gives us different abilities, but if you apply yourself, if you work hard, you're gonna have failures. I had failures in my life. I didn't make the football team, right? I wanted to, but I ended up getting to be on the boxing team and getting coached by one of the best in the world. There's been many things in life. So do you take those failures and learn from them and make them positive, or do you give up and just get discouraged or quit? And so we all need that.
Yeah, Scotty, let me remind you of something. All things work for good. There's
Yes,
Scotty.
sir.
All
Yes,
things
sir,
work
they
for
do.
good to those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Good.
Amen.
Just because
Amen.
it may not feel good, it may not be what we thought we wanted.
That's right.
We just have to trust. And
Amen.
that's
And I'm just so grateful. I mean, I couldn't have, if I would have tried to plan out my career, I couldn't have done it. I had a very non-standard. We didn't really get into it. I didn't have the average, go to staff, hit all the points. I was flying combat missions up as a senior lieutenant colonel, and I'm grateful I got to do that. But
yeah.
But that was God's intervention and being obedient to what he wanted to do. I also teach scuba. I teach scuba.
Oh God, Scotty, we forgot all about that.
That's okay. I love it. I found out about that when I retired and needed another hobby. But I love teaching people that because it's neat to see them enjoy it, share the sport. Some are apprehensive and struggle with it, but I just love instructing. It's just something God put on my heart early on. I taught Sunday school and but I was influenced by so many great educators and still are, and that's what we all want to do is we help each other get better, help each other strive to be good citizens, to be good husbands, fathers, mothers. Um, that's that's the strength of our nation. As crazy as all that stuff's going on, that's what matters. And if we can do that and uplift each other and not be so divided, we can disagree, but can we critically think and just sit down and discuss it normally? You know what I mean? Disagree, but can we? But sometimes we never can even get.
Hey, Scotty. Scotty, we lost you. Hey, Scotty. Scotty, we lost you. Can you hear me?
I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think your headset quit on you.
How's this? Is it better?
We can hear you now.
Okay.
I think your headset might have died, but that's okay.
Yeah, but people, even adults, have lost their critical thinking skills. How do you really take the emotion out of it and just critically think about it, and learn from it.
Oh, Scotty, listen. There's so many times you can try to have a conversation with somebody or watch them try to have a conversation with somebody else. And after the first 10 seconds of listening to them talk, all they are doing is repeating the most recent thing they heard somebody else say.
Exactly right.
They haven't thought through what they're saying. They're just repeating what some other stupid person said. And
And the other important thing is, I used to teach our students, listen to understand, not listen to respond. Most people listen to respond and never hear what you're saying. Try to listen, understand, and then respond. Those
hey,
things. Those things are important. But look,
Scotty,
I know we're getting close on time, but you got to let me. You say just two quick things.
well, Scotty, this is what we were fixing to hand off to you anyway. What
Okay, great.
we're gonna leave a lot of things said, and we want you back, buddy. Good gracious, you've been great. We want you back, but
Well,
we're gonna let you take us out.
all right. Well, first of all, again, my mother and father, and I'm so grateful and so blessed. They were just wonderful and taught me so much, and they pushed me. They held me accountable, but I'm so grateful for them. So, and my father's the greatest leader I've ever known. Great man. My sister, Vicky, she's 5 years behind me. She went into education, teacher and coach. Her husband just retired as assistant superintendent. He was a teacher. Vicky's won 2 state championships, played for another at two different schools. Every program she took over was a losing program, and she made them winning programs. She retired from public school, now teaches um, over near Macomb with uh, I just blanked out the
Park
academy over Park
Park
Lane
Lane.
Academy. And when she took it over, they had not went, and now they played in the state championship last year. But I'm proud of her. She's a great teacher and educator and coach, and I think the best coaches are first grade teachers. She's that, and she cares about her students and her players, and she teaches them about life. So I'm very proud of my sister. Very proud. The other thing is so grateful for is a great wife, Kathy. Um, she it's tough being a military wife, and I was gone a lot, years away. I mean, deployed, non-deployments. Even when I was stateside, I was sometimes training. She kept the household running, helped raise her kids. My kid and I, she was a great. She was born to be a military wife. I'm so proud of her. And then later worked for the Army, the family support group for the Army, helping their families, and I'm just very proud of her. Um, and it's just been a great support. And my kids, Michelle, uh, Amanda Joe, and Michael, they all married great people. They all are great kids, and they all went on to school and have done well in their own part. I don't have enough time to tell you all they did, but in fact, Michelle she went to education. Married great people, fine um, uh, Christian people that just love them. We could not have asked for better son-in-laws and daughter-in-law, and I'm so proud of our kids. So I just really want to, to just say that. But one thing I always say, and then I'll end with this: we get asked to speak a lot, veterans breakfast, different things. I always mention the military families and and uh, and continuing to serve and veteran suicide. And not to end on a negative note. But the families serve as much as the veteran it is a soldier, airman. I joke, we're all volunteer force. I volunteered; they got drafted. So, uh, and
That's a
and it,
that's a good way to put it.
yeah, and I think it's harder on them because when we're off, we're with the other family. They're not more important than our real family, but you get close to each other. You train together, you're in war together, and we know what we're doing, and we're together. They're wondering, worried about us. They're trying to. That's when the car breaks down and the washing machine, and they're having to, and then you got to come back, and so it's
Kids
hard
get
on
sick
families.
and
Yes,
stuff like that.
it's hard on that. So I have just a huge place in my heart for these military families. So we need to always support them and remember them, pray for them. Uh, the other thing is veteran suicide. We've lost and still are more veterans to suicide than we did even in the last 2 decades of being in combat. And that's just tragic. Tragic's not even a good enough word. So, I always try to encourage all people, whether you're military or not. If you're struggling, need help, get help, because people love you, you matter, and that's not the answer. It seems like the answer, but it's not.
Mhm.
And so, I have a real burden for that. And so we need to pray for them. We need to support them, because some of these are coming back with trying to deal with stuff that is very difficult to deal with. And so it's a real thing. So we need to pray for them. And the last thing is, most service people I know is, we continue to want to serve. And that's what I've tried to do. I'm on the Mississippi Veterans Affairs Board. I'm on the Governor's Defense Community Development Council, National Oceans and Application Research Center. I don't say that bragging. I'm grateful for those opportunities to serve my state that I love, to serve our nation, and to serve the community. And everybody can do something, whether you're a veteran or not. It may be just doing something simple, maybe serving at church, maybe serving just at a soup kitchen. There's plenty of volunteer opportunities, but nothing is just something about serving others. Servant leadership is something that's important. The best example of that was Jesus Christ. There's no better example of that in servant leadership than him. But um, yes, we all have to take care of ourselves, but there's something just very special about serving and helping others. And so everyone ought to find some place. You don't have to do a lot. You can be as busy as you want or not, but find a way to help your neighbor, help others. Um, that's that. That's what motivates me, I guess, to serve my family, serve my nation, um, and to serve Christ is the best as best I can. I'm a flawed person, but um, I think that's important. And so that's what I encourage people to do is be grateful for what It's easy to focus on the negative in a very bad world. None of us got here by ourselves. I didn't get through the academy, through my military service, without help from a lot of people. And so the best thing we can do is try to find people we can go help, and just try to make each other better and make our nation better. And we need it now more than ever. So
Oh, Scotty, let me tell you, buddy. First of all, my heart to your heart. Thank you for your service. I want to thank Kathy and the kids for being supportive of you. And oh my gosh, uh, just can't say enough about the example you've set. And you've been an awesome guest tonight. And Scotty, we left so much unsaid that we could still cover. We want to cover. So we want you back, buddy. We want you back. So plan on that if you don't mind. Sometime in the future, real soon, we're going to have you back on, and we're going to cover a lot of the stuff we didn't get to cover because let me tell you, I watched the comments of those who served with you that knew you, and I mean they just have nothing but the greatest of things to say about you and how honored they were to serve with you, and that you're definitely somebody that they were honored to be served either with or under, and man, just can't say enough how much I appreciate you joining us tonight, and especially, brother, so how long I've known you, and here you are. You're just a magnificent, grown little Scotty.
Well, Keith, I looked up to you, man, and then you've done very well. I'm proud of you. So it's great to reconnect.
I thank you, man. I hate we got to jump off. JT,
hey, look, next time we're going to talk some humorous stories. I like to have fun too. I got some funny stories I can.
Well,
share.
that's some more out of the Reader's Digest. What's it called in Reader's Humor in Uniform?
Yeah, that's right. I got some.
Yeah, we want to hear them. We want to hear them.
Yeah.
What did you have for me? You rang.
I did. I was just wondering if you wanted to do the send off for Scotty, if you've been listening, and what you got out of what Scotty had been talking about.
Sure. I had one question for Scott or John. With such a diverse and accomplished career, what are you most proud of, and what's next for you in the next chapter of life?
Wow. That's hard, but I think I'm most proud of our kids, our children, and the people they become, and um, and very grateful and proud of my wife, who was a large part of that, even when I couldn't be there.
Mm.
Um, as far as militarily, it's hard to put that on. I guess um, I, that's just a hard one. You know, it's just
No, no pressure.
I'm so proud of the people I served with. You
Mm,
know, that made me better, and that and the things we were able to accomplish to bring some of our soldiers and airmen back home safely, and in what we did, um, and to accomplish those objectives. I guess maybe one of the most rewarding things was that tactical ISR mission we did with the special operation teams. Those people are so skilled and so good, and it's humbling when we would deploy with them. And I remember Terry was the commander of Delta. He had played defensive tackle at West Point. He was a man's man, and he was taking my hand, going, Hoss, thank you for what y'all do for us. And it was humbling because I'm thinking, you're the guy kicking that door in, and I'm just looking at it through a sensor. Um, but to know that it was, again, he was acknowledging the teamwork, you know, and
Yeah.
so I was very proud of a lot of the work we did there. I think that I think it's given me great peace to know that I think a lot of guys came home back to their families because of some of the things we did, and oh,
absolutely. Well, man, we want to thank you for your service. Thank you even now for what you continue to do for people. I know you're a big impact. I can tell just by the comments that have rolled in, you have made an impact on your community and those people around you. Um, if you want, just take the last few seconds before we hop off. Tell everybody what you got going on, what you're working on, or what you're excited for coming up in your life.
oh well, um, really proud of the work we're doing at Program Community College. Great school. Really proud to be part of that team. Um, Proud of what we're doing in NOARC. We're doing a lot of cutting edge technology with universities and businesses to help with our environment and surveying our ocean floors and our waterways. And um, very proud of the work we're doing on Mississippi Veterans Affairs Board, the great team that work up there. We oversee the veterans' homes and state cemeteries. So got a lot of that going on. Um, Main thing right now, I'm focusing on getting my dad healthy again. With those two broken ribs, but he's a trooper. He's tough, so he's doing better. Um, Next week, we're heading to Oklahoma City for our B-52 reunion, and we get to see our son and his lovely wife Kate and their family. They live in Oklahoma City, so we're looking forward to that.
Well, Scott,
And
take a bunch of pictures now.
Okay, all right.
And we'll be sharing them next time we have you on. And oh, Scott, it's been great, man. We're keeping people up. You have been just a fabulous guest, man. It's so I feel so honored. Number one, to have known you all your life, almost all your life, and to be reconnected and hearing you talk about your life and experiences, but also the inspirational um, themes of leadership and integrity and how to make good things happen in a fallen world, man. You're just so awesome. So awesome.
Right.
And I hate to say we got to go, but Scott, thank you. Love you, man. Golly, and give our best to your dad. But you've been great. You have absolutely been great,
Well,
Scotty.
y'all make it easy, and love you guys too, and God bless you. So thank you, and keep doing what you're doing. You got a fan, and I'm gonna be, if I can't tune in live, I'll be watching every one of y'all's episodes because So
Well, thanks, Scott, for I keep saying Scott because Keith grew up calling you Scotty, but thank you, John, for joining, and to our viewers, thank you for joining, commenting, being a part of the
and
community.
most of these people know me as Hoss, so it doesn't matter.
I didn't even know you had a name.
I answered
Yeah.
any of them.
You got many. You're about like me. It depends on who I'm talking to, what alias I'm using.
That's right. Hey, and usually I can tell by what period of my life they knew me by what they called
Right.
me. So I'm with
That's
you.
right.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
There you
y'all be
go.
sure to like, subscribe, share, tell your mom, cousins, sisters, aunties about it. We go live every Thursday, 8 p.m. We have a new guest just about every week. And if there's not, Keith and I'll do a little dance just to keep you entertained. But
Well, I'd
y'all
like to
can
see
find us.
that. Is
Y'all
it a
can find us
interpretive
on
dance?
you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, whatever platform you're on. We're on all of them. Just want to say thank y'all again, and really appreciate the community, and it's growing. We've seen a major uptick in viewers the last several episodes, and I think it's only going to grow from here when we have people like Hoss Ladner on to talk to the people. So thanks again.
Yeah.
Thanks again, John, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.
Okay, buddy.
God bless.
You too, buddy. God bless you.